Do I look like a teddy bear or what? Trying to take it down a level. I don't know about you, but it's been a little bit of a stressful week. I want to do a painting that was just going to chill me out, that I didn't have to worry about whether it turned out nice or not, that it was just going to give me something to focus on and let me enjoy the process of creating something. We are just painting to enjoy the act of painting itself. So this is my little relaxing cloud painting that we're doing with acrylics for this tutorial. And the sides might be a little bit wet still. It gives off chill, sleepy vibes. It's still wet for sure. Did it get some on me? No. It's on my thumb though. I want you to enjoy the process if you do this along with me, or just enjoy watching the process if you just want to watch me do it. Your intention for this video should be set to chill, okay? Between me and you, we both need it. You know we both need it. Let's get into this little tutorial. I did this in oils. We're gonna go for it in acrylics. So white little canvas panel. This is a 9x12. You can use any size, any material. It can be paper, it can be canvas, it can be wood, it can be whatever you want. And we've got something to mix on. We've got some water, we've got some brushes. I've just got a whole bunch of brushes here that I'm just gonna pick from as we go along, and I'll talk about them. And then I have my paints. So I'm just using primary colors for this. And really the bulk of our whole painting is gonna be blue and white. But we're going to add little tints of color here and there with some red and yellow. It's gonna be very, very small, but it's gonna help us mute down some colors to get not such a vibrant effect, get a more soft and like, my brain wants to call it sleepy, a sleepy effect and not like a bright, awake effect. So if you want, you can take a screenshot of this little painting here right now that you can have up next to you while you're painting, or you can just follow along with me, whatever you feel like. So let's get started on our painting. We're gonna start with the sky first. I'm gonna take off my sweater too. I'm so hot, oh my God. Ugh. All right, let's mix up this blue. Bunch of it, so much. White. We want it to be a light blue, but not too light. And then we're gonna bring in yellow and red. So yellow and red together make up the color orange, which is the opposite of blue on the color wheel. And because they're opposites, they mute each other, bring down the vibrancy just a little to get that sleepy effect that I'm looking for. And I think I want to bring down color a little bit with white. Just doing little bits at a time, just so I don't add too much of one color at once and have to scrub my color. I'm gonna take this color and I'm gonna take a nice, good sized brush, because I have a lot of canvas to cover here. Got a little flat brush here. See, it's about 1 inch thick. I'm gonna add a little tiny bit of water, just get my brush a little bit wet, but not too wet. And I'll get this color in there and let's start bringing it across. You know, as I'm doing this, I'm realizing that I think I want to change this color a little bit. I'm tweaking this color again, shifting it. I went more yellow, more white. Also, if you want to keep your painting pretty vibrant, you can do this painting with just white and blue if you want. Go crazy. If that's what you're feeling today, you're feeling very blue, that might be the painting for you. How am I feeling with that? I think I'm feeling that more. Yeah. And so I want to bring this down to about, I'm going to just give myself a little guide for where I want my clouds to start. You can see I'm using a very sketchy hand. I'm not being too picky. I'm not drawing out my painting before I'm painting it. I'm kind of just going for it. It's a very loose, casual painting. I don't want to have to worry about exactly following lines or filling in color in a specific way. I'm just doing me. I'm just feeling it. This is all about flow. I'm not worried about making a masterpiece here. I am working out my stress. I'm working out all my feelings and I'm just chilling. I went and added a little more white to our sky color, just so I can start shifting it slightly. So it's gonna get just a little bit lighter as we get closer to where our clouds are. I'm gonna do it again. I'm just taking a little bit of white and I'm just mixing it with my brush. Bring in that color. And you should, if you're doing this quick enough, you should be able to get a little bit of blend. But if you have to work slower because you're not as used to painting, that's okay too. You don't have to get this perfect blend for your painting to look pretty. And we're just working on focusing on the feeling of painting. I'm not worried about how my painting's gonna turn out. There we go. You see where I have that little gradient going on there? So the sky has started to get a little lighter as I've gotten further down. It's super subtle. You can barely tell, but it gives my painting just like a little more of a dynamic look to it. It doesn't look so flat when I have this little gradient happening. It gives it a little more life. And it's okay if you go over those little lines you drew before. Nothing wrong with that. Those are just a guide. We're gonna go for, what do we want? Who's looking cute today? Who's my cutest paintbrush? Who wants to come out and play? You're pretty cute. You're pretty cute too. Filbert brushes, they have this little rounded top and they're great for making little cloud shapes because they already have a roundness to them, so you can make these tiny little puffs. So I'm gonna go with this guy first. We'll go in with this guy for details later. I'm gonna take this light color that we use for the bottom part of the sky and I'm gonna add a lot more white, like mostly white. It's just like really like a little tiny bit of that blue that's left there. And I wanna start drawing in the top of our little clouds. You might wanna let your sky dry fully before you do this, especially if you're not as familiar with working with paints, but it also gives it a neat effect when you kind of go over colors that aren't quite dry yet. They blend in really neat ways. What we're doing here is we're just creating the very tops of these clouds and making little tiny puffs. And I'm not going all the way down, I'm just kind of creating where the puff is gonna be and then letting it sit just like that. Don't worry about making this look exactly like mine either. Let this be your painting. It does not, like there's no perfect way to draw these little clouds. You make them however they come out of your little brush, however you feel they should be. Not worried about making a perfect painting. I'm worried about nothing. I don't want to worry about nothing. That's what I feel today. I'm worried about nothing. What I want to be focusing my energy on is enjoying my time painting. So now that I have the little outlines, I want to add pure white. We're using so much white in this painting, you have no idea. But I'm going to go in this pure white here, adding that color. If it's still wet, that's great, and you get this little blend effect that I have going on. If not, that's totally fine too. I just want to start making it look like the bottom of these puffs is a little lighter. And I'm just using the rounded part of this brush. I'm taking advantage of how round that is, and I'm creating little round segments. I also have this little line going through. I'm taking advantage of that too, like maybe that's a little bit of a puff as well. Who knows? I'm gonna bring some over here as well. Just taking just white, pure white, plain. Okay. I'm gonna bring more white into this blue we have over here from the sky, and we're going to start making some more of those little puffs. Have them start showing up. You can add more blue, less blue, whatever you want these to be, however dark you want them to be, but I'm just gonna start kind of throwing them in little shapes to show there's layers of puffy clouds happening here. So these puffs are happening a little closer to us, the person looking at the painting. Going back in with my pure white, I'm gonna wipe off my brush a little, and I'm taking that white once again, and I'm just starting to tap it in the same way we did these guys over here. You see how you get this kind of blending effect from the way we're doing these layers of light blue and then white on top of it? I want to do another layer of our puffs. And it's going to be a little darker this time and have a little more definition to it as they come closer to us. Blue, and I'm adding my white. And I want to start drawing in this layer of puffs here. I'm kind of vaguely going along the shape of the clouds from this painting, but only vaguely. I'm also kind of doing my own thing at the same time. I don't want to be too concerned with trying to make it perfect or comparing it to some other painting. I just want to make it. With white, and I'm keeping some of the paint on my brush. I'm not fully washing it off this time. I want some of that blue to come into this second layer of color. Look at this. It just has a little bit of our leftover blue in there. Don't worry so much about the imperfections at the moment. Just let yourself paint, and then once we finish the bulk of it, we'll come back and add details, which might fix some of those things that you're thinking look wrong right now. So maybe they're not as wrong as you think. Sometimes those mistakes are actually just the under part of your painting. I think I stopped that a little too soon. I don't love the separation in the middle. I think I'm gonna bring this cloud out a little bit more. Like, decided I wasn't jabbing with what I wanted to do today, and so I just tweaked it. We're gonna do one more layer of clouds. I'm gonna add just a tiny bit of red to our blue here. Your colors might have dried. Just mix up a new one. It's totally okay. Take your time, pause the video. Pause the video whenever you want if you feel like I'm going too fast. Get a little bit of this red in here as I do that. Yes. Yes. Very cute. So these shapes are going to be, the puffs are going to be a little bit bigger than they were over here. A little bit darker, a little bit bigger, because they're closer to us. Here, and I kind of want it to come down like this. This is a very loose, very sketchy style painting. So I'm just kind of like scrubbing my little brush on there. Kind of want it to have the look of brush marks. What am I trying to say? I don't want to hide the fact that this is a painting by trying to blend out all the brush strokes or anything like this. I want it to look like it's a painting. Because it is. It's a painting. It's a painting that I'm making right now. With my own 2 hands. And I don't want to hide the fact that it's a painting. I want people to know. So the brush strokes are okay. I don't need perfect blending. Scrub, 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 scrub. Scrub, 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 scrub. So the whole time we've just used variations on our sky color to make this painting. There we go. This is honestly the bulk of the painting. What we're gonna do now is just add all the little bits that we're still feeling like this painting needs. I wanna shift my sky color a little bit, kind of looking like, it has a little more green in it than I was thinking, and I kind of wanna go for more of like slightly purple tinted, so I'm gonna take some of our sky color and I'm just gonna shift it with more red in it, I'm feeling. And if you don't wanna do this, don't do it. You could stop here if you wanted to. But the best way to get your painting in a place where it's primed for you to fall in love with it is to put just as much effort in it as you can. Effort equals love, baby. The more love you can put in your painting, the better you're gonna feel about it. Like legit. Just slight of a color difference this is. But I think it's gonna make a big difference on how I'm perceiving my painting. And now I want to work a little more on our actual cloud shapes. Because we're going to go into with like some stars and the moon up here in a little bit, but I got to let it dry again. I'm going to go with my detail brush this time. I've got like a solid amount of water, maybe like 50%, maybe a little bit less than 50%, because I want it to have a soft, transparent kind of thing. I don't want it to be too opaque. Puffy dimension. I wasn't loving how this space is still so open. I'm gonna add a little more puffiness in there. Clouds just a little bit more. I wanted them to be just a little more contrasty with the clouds behind. Running out of paint here, I gotta mix up some new stuff. I'm being lazy about it, but a little more of a blue wash down here. I want to really really lighten. I'm noticing there's not enough contrast between the dark parts down here and this part up here. And I want these clouds up there to kind of be a little more defined. The sky, so I'm gonna start adding more white to these. And then going with our pure white, just plain white. And some of these spots that I want to make sure are highlighted. I want to do the same thing with these clouds, but with just added a little bit of blue to my white, because I want to be able for you to have a distinction between the different cloud layers. And right now I feel like they're kind of a little bit jumbled all over the place. So if I add just a little more of a solid color to each of the layers, I feel like that distinction is going to be able to stand out easier. Same thing with the next layer. Bring in some darker, still not like a dark blue, obviously. Bring in a darker color in. And I want to get these guys darker too. I'm out of blue, so I gotta mix up a new blue. There we go. Like that. Oh, actually I changed my mind. It's too dark. Good news is you can always change it. That's a little better. Now I'm putting these final details and kind of taking a little more time on the puffs and making sure that I like their shape, I like how they're looking. I'm adding a little bit of water and blending out the parts of the cloud here that are starting to blend into the other parts, just like that. A little bit of white as we're moving into the other parts of the cloud. Parts that are starting to get just a little more highlighted. Put in some more details in here, some more puffs that maybe got washed away. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. So I'm gonna take a break from this part. I'm just gonna see how my eyeballs are feeling about it in like a second. And for the moment, let's get into what our sky's gonna look like. So if you want, you can add like a little moon right there in the center. I think that's what I'm gonna do. And then I'm gonna put some stars around it, but you can throw in whatever you want here. This is all up to you. I'm taking a very, 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 very tiny brush. You see how small that is? And I'm taking pure white. I'm just going to place crescent moon. And I'll throw in some stars. Let's keep it a nice point. Make sure your sky is dry now when you're doing this part. A lot easier to draw these stars when you have something to rest your little hand on. And I like to vary the size of my stars a little bit. Sometimes I like to do bigger star that's a little bit brighter, and sometimes I like to do really super tiny stars and then a big one next to them. Sometimes I like to clump them together like this. Put a bunch of them all in a row. And sometimes I keep them really far apart. Very tippy top on my painting. And on the edges. Oh! Well, you know what? That one accidentally got really big. We're gonna turn it into a really big, sparkly kind of star. That's actually really cute. I think I'm gonna add another one of those over on this side too. Maybe like right here. Gives it kind of like a magical feel to it, doesn't it? All right, now you can be totally done with your painting here. I think I'm gonna go in a little bit more and maybe add some more white details in some of these spots. But it's all up to you now, wherever you think your painting's gonna need a little something. I always say that where I'm like, I'm done, and then I look at it and I'm like, well, what about this and what about that? Sometimes it's just nice to be like, you know what, I think I am done with this painting and I'm just gonna step aside and let it be what it's gonna be. And then sometimes it's also nice just go the little extra mile on your painting. It's always a balance you have to try and figure out, huh? This has like a little bit of a purple tint to it. I kind of like how that looks. It's that sleepy vibe I was talking about. Okay, now it's official. Now I am done. This is our painting. It was a nice, relaxing one. I genuinely, I feel like my stress levels have been taken down about 6 notches or so. I'm feeling good, ready to face whatever the world sends our way. That's how I feel. That's how I'm feeling right now. I feel ready. If you finish this painting, I'm so proud of you. It's hard to do things when you're stressed out. And I encourage you to go easy on yourself. Be nice to yourself. I'm working on this too. Being nice to myself is something I've gotten good at over the years, but I still need practice and upkeep on it. I encourage you to do the same. People who support me on Patreon get the unedited version of this tutorial. So that's up for you guys right now. So I hope you have a lovely weekend, a lovely day, a lovely whatever it is when you're watching this video. I will see you in the next video. Just fell asleep. This little cloud. Good night.